I wanted to use this video to go a little bit more in depth on the treaty, on the terms of the Treaty of Versailles, because these will become relevant as we start talking about the rise of Hitler and the Nazis and the start of World War II. So just as a review, we've already talked about the Treaty of Versailles placing the war guilt on the Germans, is saying they were to blame for World War II, which is considered to be a controversial statement. Obviously, many other actors were involved in World War II as well. The one justification for placing war guilt on Germany is that they were very aggressive in declaring war on both Russia and France at the break of World War I, and really caused it to be a Europe-wide war. The other term, as we've already talked about, is it diminished their armed forces to 100,000 men, their navy to 15,000 men, really a basic scaffold, almost really more of a police force than armed forces. The Treaty of Versailles also said that they could not form a union with Austria. No integration or union with Austria. Obviously, there was fears of Germany trying to create a more kind of pan-German state. Austria, they do speak German. They are ethnically German. And on top of that, we have all of the lost German colonies. So the colonies in Africa, the colonies in Asia, these were all taken away from Germany. But of particular interest, I want to talk about the territorial changes that took place. And this map is a little bit cleaner than the one we looked at in the last video on the Paris Peace Conference and the Treaty of Versailles. So first you have just the territorial losses for Germany. So right over here, we already talked about Poland being carved out of the former German Empire and the former Russian Empire. After the Bolsheviks took over, we're now talking about the USSR. And this chunk right over here of Western Prussia that is in this red color, we do this in magenta, this was given over for the new state. This is given over for the new state of Poland, and parts right over here of Silesia, right over here were given over Poland. This part of Silesia down here was given to Czechoslovakia. This area right up here was made a free state, the Free State of Danzig, but that was also taken from former German territory. We already talked about Alsace and Lorraine, which is this area in contention between France and Germany for many, many, many years, was now given back to France. Belgium, some of German territory, was given over to Belgium as well. You have this little section right over here called North Schleswig that was given over to Denmark. Now on top of that territory that was given over, and actually over here too, you have this little part, this upper tip right over here of Prussia was given over, or was actually taken by Lithuania. It was initially given to France, but it was taken by Lithuania. So that was all the formal German territorial losses. But then on top of that, they had to give over reparations. And part of this reparation process was to give the Saar region, or not to give the Saar region, but let the Saar region be occupied by the Allies. And the reason why the Saar region was of interest is that was a major coal-producing region of Germany, and it was occupied by the Allies, and then all the coal was shipped over to France, apparently to make up for all of the losses, the coal production that France had lost during World War I. On top of that, none of the Allies were interested in kind of another invasion by Germany. So you had an occupation and then demilitarization of the Rhineland. And the Rhineland included this part of Germany that was west of the Rhine River, all of this region right over here, and a 50-kilometer strip east of the Rhine River. So Germany was not allowed to militarize this. And this will become very relevant once we have the Nazis come to power, because they test the resolve of the Allies. As we'll see, they do start to militarize the Rhineland and see what kind of the strength of the Allies. So these were the major territorial gains over, on top of the things that we've talked about here. Above and beyond that, obviously, the reparations loomed large. And the reparations weren't just in pure dollar terms. The reparations were valued, if in modern 2013 dollars, roughly 400 or so billion dollars, but they don't ever get fully paid. But the reparations are relevant, obviously, in terms of the occupation of this Saar region right over here. And then we'll see in 1923, you have spiraling inflation in Weimar Germany. Weimar Germany is the German republic that emerges out of World War I, named after the city in which the Constitution was drafted. And when they're not able to pay the reparations in 1923, you actually have the French occupying the Ruhr region in Germany, which is another area that of coal production and steel production, roughly in this region right over here. And between the hyperinflation that you have in Germany and this humiliation of France taking even more significant fraction of Germany's industrial or coal and steel production, this is part of the fuel that allows the National Socialists or the Nazis to get more and more of a following and eventually attempt a coup d'etat, a putsch in the end of 1923. That's a failed putsch, but it gives them a lot more support than they would have otherwise had.